see the sun is shining, so we decided to do our filming on the outside today, so we can make the most of it. First of all, I'd like to thank all the people that have made comments about the films that we make, all the people who have phone calls, and as I've said before, anybody that's got a problem with anything whatsoever that they think I can help with, please pick up the phone and talk to me. Don't send emails, they're rubbish. Pick the phone up and talk, conversation. I'd like to show you something which I quite like, something a little bit different, something that to me is depicts how English guns should and could be. So this is one that came in a little while ago. It's a Jeffries side lock. Oh, it's a visual open leather case, and just a lovely example of how nice an English gun can be. It's nice when they're in their original case because everything fits. This is a well-made gun. It's a typical provincial gun, although they had a address in London, Golden Square. A lot of their guns were made in outside of London, so they were considered to be a provincial gun maker. But what is quite nice is the effort that's gone into producing this gun. That's a side look. Look at the engraving on that. Absolutely lovely. And then, same on the other side. Okay. Even the fences, they've carved the fences. This is what they call the fences. They've carved the fences, engraving on the fences, and in the middle of each one, you've got a dog's head. And even on the bottom of the action, nice slow engraving with a stag on it. They've even gone to the trouble of engraving the trigger guard, which is unusual. For an English gun to have that much engraving on is quite unusual. Obviously, engraving is a lot of time and money, so a lot of English guns had engraving on, but some of it was quite minimal. Wood. Unfortunately, that is very, very rare. That is French walnut, and French walnut ran out 20 odd years ago. So gradually, we're cutting down all the walnut trees and making guns out of them. So at the moment, we're on two different types of walnut. We're on Turkish walnut, and we're on American walnut. American walnut is very, very dark and reddy, beautifully figured, but very dark and reddy colour. Turkish walnut looks similar to French walnut, but not quite as highly figured. Okay. So there you go, a classic English gun, and sensible money. That gun's about £5,000. You can't buy a new Spanish gun for that these days, so fantastic value for money. It's nice to have a nice English gun for high days and holidays, and then maybe a second-hand Spanish side-by-side for doing the rough shooting with. So most people that have got side-by-sides will have two guns, one for Sunday best and one for everyday shooting. This is quite unusual because it's got 2 3/4 inch chambers, and it was originally 2 3/4. So it's still, you can shoot traditional cartridges for it. But one of the things that I always say to people, that is a lovely little light English gun. Don't put 2 3/4 inch cannon shells for it. Put a standard English game load, 2.5 inch, maybe ounce or ounce and eighth is more than enough. Don't put cannon shells for it, it will kick 7 bells out of you. There's an auto safe there. Double trigger, conveniently, people say I'm having trouble with my double triggers. What they forget is that the back trigger is conveniently situated just behind the front one. So instead of pulling the front one twice, go bang, bang. One of the things that we do have a little bit of trouble with, a lot of people would like to buy a gun like this. They shoot craze, they shoot with an over and under, and they want to go game shooting 2 or 3 times a year with a traditional side-by-side. One of the problems that we have is that on the side-by-side, the stock dimensions are very different. A side-by-side is very low in the comb, and the reason being that classic English gentlemen, when they were shooting pheasants, always held their head up very high, gun always comes up to head. And you're not trying to shoot every single bird that comes out. Whereas with an over and under play gun, you've got a higher comb, so you make sure your head goes exactly the same place every time because you're trying to get a good score. So if people come to us to buy a side-by-side, we'll always take them out with it and say, don't ram your head down, keep your head nice and high and just look at the target and shoot it. And it's learning to shoot with a side-by-side that takes a little bit of time. I mean, not a lot, but just a little bit. So again, a traditional English gun case, they were made of oaken leather. If you want to buy that gun case new today from Purdy or Bosch or Holland, that will cost you about £5,000 just for the case. So it's nice to have the original oaken leather case with the gun. And traditionally, oaken leather cases always came with the bits. So you've got your cleaning rod under there. That goes in there, that's your original cleaning rod that came with the gun. And that just slides into there, and you just turn that, and it keeps them in. And then your traditional gun case always has that slot in there for the lamps to go into. Just goes into there. So there you go, that's your traditional English gun, is a traditional English oaken leather case. They always finish nice on the outside, brass corners on all the corners. One of the reasons they put those on is because traditionally when people left London and went shooting in Scotland or Yorkshire or wherever, they went on the train. And the guards on the train were notorious for dropping guns on corners. So they put these on to stop British Rail, no, I'm trying to think what it was called in those days, damaging the case. So there you go, a classic English gun.